Have you seen Star Wars?
Today I wanted to do a quick breakdown on the viewership and the numbers for the Andor series, because there's been a debate going around for the performance of Andor. If the viewership is good, if it's bad, if it's successful, if it's not. And we have a couple reports now where I think we can look back and kind of break things down a little bit. Some of these sources I'm going to use are going to be controversial, I guess, to some people. I've seen people try to say that these sources are not reliable, and I understand that in a way because you can't really get the full picture when it comes to streaming anymore. They're not going to give us anything that's concrete, but even if they did, I remember when Ahsoka released and people were saying the numbers weren't that good, and then like the next day or so, Disney released a report saying that it had like 14 million minutes viewed or something. I can't remember. Some big number. And people were like, well, that's not really reliable either because of the way they're counting it. Like, it doesn't really give you the full scope of things. So you're never really going to get the full picture. But when you have multiple sources, you can kind of look at stuff and go, oh, now I can kind of paint a picture. I can get a broad outline of what's actually going on here. So, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of journalistic integrity here and find the truth. So let's do that together as I break down the viewership reports on Andor Season 2. The reason this even became an issue is that Illuminate released their top 10 streaming original shows for the week that Andor dropped its premiere for Season 2, and the premiere, the first 3 episodes, were not listed in the top 10 for that week, and immediately people on, I don't know, it's Twitter, but YouTube and everything, people throughout the fandom who like to spread, in my opinion, misinformation or fake news with a certain like kind of bias to it, they were saying that this show's a failure because it was not in the top 10. But if you actually know how to read, you will see that it says April 18th through April 22nd is when they did the report. So they're counting those days. Now, let's remind ourselves, when did Andor premiere its second season? April 22nd, 2 days before the report was released. What does that mean? They only counted for 2 days. So maybe, just maybe, it didn't make it in the top 10 because they're counting for 2 days of Andor and 7 days for the other shows. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it really did that bad on its premiere. But then here's the other kicker. Last week, Samba TV reported that Andor Season 2 premiered with 1.2 million views, matching the launch numbers of Season 1. Yet again, people are going to claim Samba TV is unreliable because of their limited reach TVs and households and whatnot. But if you just look at their own internal numbers, if they say, oh, we only have 100,000 people, but 20,000 tuned in for Andor, and then 30,000 tuned in for Mando, don't you think that says something that doesn't have any correlation with the, broad spectrum of the entire audience of Star Wars? This is kind of how they do polling, right? They don't poll all 300 million Americans. They poll a couple of them, and they get a kind of consensus of where things are at. A lot of places like Samba TV have been doing this for a long time. If we look at Andor's Nielsen ratings numbers from Season 1, it says that it premiered with 624 million views per minute. So if Samba TV is saying that Season 2 premiere and Season 1 premiere are both the 1.2 million range, it's likely when we get a report from the Nielsen ratings, it's going to show that Season 2's premiere had around 600 million minutes viewed, whatever that little number normally is. The following 3 episodes, the second arc, I guess they released for Andor Season 2, episodes 4 through 6, this one actually did make it into the top 10 on Illuminate, which is the initial thing that pissed a lot of people off because it wasn't in the top 10. Well, it went from not being in the top 10 to being at number 4. Then we get a report from Samba TV saying that for them, episodes 4 through 6 were at number 10 in their top 10 for that week. So you have one saying that's number 10 for the week, one saying that's number 4 for the week. That is where the inconsistency between these companies and these reports show up, is they're not giving you the same order of things, they're probably not getting the same numbers, but what does it tell you in both of them? That Andor is in the top 10. Just yesterday, Illuminate released another report and says that Andor is now at number 2 for the week. So according to these people, because the way we're going with the reports here is that it wasn't in the top 10 for the first week, but it jumped to number 4 in the second week, and then in the third week, the week we're coming out of right now, with the Gorman Massacre, it jumped up to number 2. If that doesn't scream success, it's the fucking comeback of the century. I mean, how is that a failure? I mean, what are you going to rebuttal that one with? It just jumps up to number 2, but it's a failure. A different source that caused some debate as well was Parrot Analytics. They had a report saying that Andor has pulled in over $300 million in subscriber revenue for Disney Plus since its release in 2022. And I've also seen people say this is another unreliable source because Every single source we have mentioned has been referenced by, big outlets like Variety or the New York Times. Even something like Hollywood uses sources like Parrot Analytics when they're negotiating deals, like they did with the SAG-AFTRA strikes and all that stuff with the Hollywood strikes that was going on. Parrot Analytics claims that they track views as well as viewer enthusiasm and believe from their analytics that they can anticipate how many subscribers a show is likely to attract. Now, once again, they're not 100% accurate, but they're estimating, is an estimate, that there's $300 million that was made from subscriber revenue from Andor. And the argument against that is that Andor as a series costs $600 million or more to make for all 24 episodes. So basic math tells you it costs $600 million, it's only made $300 million, therefore it's a failure. However, if you are not an idiot like a lot of these people are, and you actually read these reports, you will see in the Parrot Analytics report that it's only counting from 2022, when Andor debuted, to 2024. Is the year 2025 in the year of our Lord, my friends. Andor Season 2 came out this year. So what that report is telling you is that Andor Season 1, and only Season 1, has made $300 million in subscriber revenue. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. Are you going to try to argue that it's $100 million difference, that they really only made $200 million? Like, that's the thing, is like, okay, what would you say the number is then? No, you can't find it, can you? Why? Because you're not doing what these people do for a profession and for a living. You don't have to believe all of them, but now we have 3 to 4 different reports saying kind of the same thing, which is Andor's actually performing pretty decent. So even if it does the same amount of views as Season 1, guess what? That means maybe another $300 million over the next 2 years. That's not including merchandise, not including licensing, and all the countless other ways these evil corporations make money off people like Andor. But let's just do a quick recap. Parrot Analytics estimates that Andor's first season from 2022 to 2024 has made $300 million in subscriber revenue. Sama TV said Andor's premiere is 1.2 million views, the same as the first season premiere. Luminate has Andor at number 4 last week and number 2 this week. Sama TV has them at number 10 this week. Episodes 8 and 9 for season 2 are now in the top 20 highest rated episodes in TV history. Up there with things like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and Sopranos and all that. It's in the top 20. 2 of those episodes in the top 20 of all time in TV history. This is one of those sayings of reality, my friends. If anyone tells you this show is not a success, they are lying to you and truly spreading fake news, fake information, misinformation. That is what is called a grift. It is a bold-faced lie to adhere to a certain narrative. And honestly, I get it. You guys are in a group now. There's the shills and there's the grifters. You guys can't agree on anything, and anyone who says anything counter to your opinion is just an asshole or a racist or a shill. I don't know, and I don't care anymore. But all 3 to 4 different sources that we have say the same thing. Andor is performing better than The Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka. None of these sources are 100% accurate, but common sense would tell you if 3 to 4 independent sources of information are all saying the same thing about a show or a movie, where there's smoke, there's fire, it would mean that it's more than likely true. It's the 4 people in the room with the elephant. You got 4 different angles looking at an elephant. They all come with different sketches of the way the elephant looks. It takes someone named Star Wars Only to get all those sketches and look at it as a whole and have the common sense to read this and say, hey, Andor's actually doing pretty solid. Okay, I know it's not doing Mandalorian numbers or Kenobi. Mandalorian was huge. It was a massive phenomenon. Baby Yoda was a big deal. Kenobi is a legacy character with 40 years of history. Cassian wasn't even the lead character of Rogue One. The fact that this show about a character nobody wanted a spin-off series about, I was one of the first people to criticize it back when they announced it in like 2018 or 2019. I was like, this is a dumb idea. A Cassian Andor series. What are you trying to lose money here? But it has performed and it has over-delivered on every anode. And I will do an updated video on Andor's numbers after the finale when we get a couple more reports. And then we have the Nielsen ratings that will also give us another indication of how the show truly did perform. So we'll see. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you think Andor's performing after seeing 5 different sources say that it's performing well? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to talk more about Star Wars. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. And may the Force be with you always.